let's have a conversation about how to self-publish a book. And the whole thing is, when you want to write a book, when you want to publish a book, you have a lot of avenues. You can actually have a third party sort of publish it for you, a publishing company. But into this conversation, I want to focus on you actually, publishing the book yourself. So here's a method I want you to really pay attention to. The first thing you want to do here is that if you want to self-publish a book, you got to really start with book writing 101. You want to write a book that's marketable. It's not about just having all kinds of topics or all kinds of prose or all kind of content. No, you have to really focus on making sure that the book is really, really marketable. Now, you have to really use all kinds of ways to make sure that the book is actually marketable, in the sense that you have to you have to conduct market research to be able to validate product ideas, to validate topic ideas, to validate content ideas, right? It's all about making sure there is actually a demand for the kind of prose, the kind of content that you want to publish, right? It's all about a nice dance, if you will, between supply and demand. Okay, very important. So you want to identify your genre. Everything starts with your genre. So genre is more than just a category for your book, and aspects like story structure, verbiage, writing style, and visual content can all differ, actually, depending on the genre of your book, right? Very important. Like if you were to write, let's say if you were to self-publish, let's say a children's book, you're going to have a different dynamic, if you will, than if you were to really publish, let's say, a sci-fi book, okay? You want to explore how people talk about your genre. It's all about the conversation, the things that people are saying, how they are actually depicting trends in your niche. You want to evaluate best sellers in your genre. I mean, there are a lot of players who are maybe better than you right now in the genre, so you want to really mimic them. You want to evaluate your competitors' positioning, find out what's missing, right? If possible, identify a niche in your genre. So you have a lot of you can have niches, and you can have sub niches, right? So exploring bestsellers in your genre can really help provide clues when it comes to, let's say, marketing to your specific audience, right? It's all about having that connection with your audience. If you want to self-publish a book this year, you really have to edit like a professional, right? It's about the quality of the content that you are actually sharing with your audience. Because the whole thing is that simply because you're self-publishing a book doesn't mean that you have to reduce, you have to dial down the quality of the content. So your prose, your storytelling, your content, your structure, all those constitute a strong foundation of a very successful self-published book, okay? It's really important to understand that self-publishers will have to compete in the same stores and marketplaces such as Amazon and Barnes & Noble as traditional publishing companies, meaning that your book needs to look just as refined and polished as it would coming from a major publishing house, right? Simply because you are doing it yourself doesn't mean that you are going to the public is going to really give you is going to accept lower quality work. As a matter of fact, the public doesn't even know that you are self-publishing your book, okay? So you want to start by editing the manuscript yourself. If you have some kind of English or storytelling or editing background, then you can do it yourself. If not, just outsource the whole thing to a third party, right? You can also try to get feedback from your intended audience. I mean, you'll probably have a niche, that's for sure. So you have a diehard, if I can say it that way, you have diehard readers, avid readers, who will really will be willing to give you some kind of feedback, okay? Preliminary feedback. You want to have your manuscript copy edited by a professional. So copy editing is a very meticulous process that involves the line-by-line revision of a manuscript with the intention of improving readability and making sure the piece is free of, let's say, grammatical and factual errors. So while you should do your own copy edit before passing your manuscript along, it's important to have a professional take a look and gain an outside perspective on your book's content, right? So that's kind of important, especially if you want to have a great book in the future. And so you have a lot of places where you can hire a freelance editor. You can go on Reedsy, you can go on Upwork, you can go on Fiverr, you can go on Guru. You have a lot of places. I mean, if you need help, just let me know in the comment section and I'll certainly direct you to the best spot for you, depending on your geography. The third thing you want to do here, if you want to self-publish a book this year, you want to really pay attention to the book cover. So here I'm speaking about the graphics, the design, okay, the artistry, if you will. You want to develop an eye-catching book cover. Really important. I mean, the whole thing is that, I mean, you know the axiom that says you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, right? But the thing is, in reality, most people will. Your cover acts as your book's primary visual aid to users browsing online retailers, marketplaces, your online store, and just about every other place that your book will be sold. Right? It's all about first impression, and you want the first impression to be really positive. You want the first impression to be a smash, if you will. Okay, a positive smash in that sense. Okay, now you have to think about your artistry, your level of graphic design skills. Okay, because the whole thing is that if you're not really good, if you don't have let's say a creative bone in your body, you want to really start thinking about it, hire a professional designer, because the whole thing is that you can't do everything by yourself, right? You probably have to you are good when it comes to writing a book. That's pretty good. I mean, you ran a book already. That takes a lot of energy. That takes a lot of resources, right? So the thing is, you want to outsource part of the job to a third party, to an artist, to a graphic designer, somebody who has creative skills, right? So you can actually get something really wonderful. Now, whether you design the book yourself or hire a freelancer, you need to really think like a marketer when it comes to, let's say, evaluating your cover design. And so here are some certain things that I want you to keep in mind. You want to use inspiration to inform your decision. Think in terms of thumbnails. Okay, if you're familiar with the YouTube or a Vimeo, you know that thumbnails are critical. So think in terms of thumbnails. Make your title legible. So an eye-catching cover design could go to waste if readers are not able to quickly and easily associate it with your book title. So you want to keep the spine and back cover in mind. So although the spine and back cover may not be visible in thumbnails, they will be visible in the physical incantation of your book. A lot of readers, and that's really important to mention, that a lot of readers actually care about what the spine looks like on their bookshelf. So you want to follow the same aesthetic as your cover and make sure the design is coherent. And so if you are looking to hire a designer, you can use the freelance services that I gave you a little earlier. I talked to you about earlier. So you can actually use the same services to actually hire a designer. But if you want to do things yourself, you can use Canva, you can use Photor, you can use Edit.org, or you can use Visme. Those are great places to actually do things yourself. If you are trying to self-publish a book this year, I want you to really choose your self-publishing platform. And as I said a little earlier, you have a lot of possibilities when it comes to self-publishing. I mean, a lot of folks just know about Audible, they know about Amazon, KDP, right? But you have a lot more places where you can actually do things yourself, okay? So a self-publishing platform is a tool actually used to turn all the elements of your book into a physical product and distribute it to buyers and retailers, right? The whole thing is you have to think about marketability of your book. You got to think about the distribution of your book. You got to think about the sustainability of your book. Okay, you got to really think about all the aspects of the supply chain, and that's important. So you can sell in store with Lulu and Shopify, for instance. So Lulu is actually a self-publishing platform that provides tools for printing and distributing your very own books and ebooks. And Lulu offers a very wide variety of sizes, bindings, and page types that give you a ton of options for developing your manuscript and cover into a physical product. And so that's really good from a flexibility point of view, okay? And so you also have self-publishing with print on demand. So print on demand is a fulfillment method wherein your books are printed and shipped at a point of sale. That means what? It means that you don't need to actually print a bunch of copies of your book, hold them as stock, and ship them yourself, okay? So print-on-demand books are perfect for self-publishers because it is a low cost and saves time by letting you outsource the manufacturing and distribution of your products. You also have a third possibility, which is selling on Amazon using KDP, so Kindle Direct Publishing. So KDP is Amazon, the self-publishing platform that allows users to print their books on demand at the point of sale, and readers are used to Amazon interface, making it very easy for them to, let's say, navigate to find your book. So that's really good. And you have a 60-40 split in terms of royalty when it comes to KDP. So that's really good. You also have other self-publishing platforms. So you have Readsy, you have Ingram Spark, you have Blurb. So it's all about the possibilities that you want to grab. There are a lot of them out there. If you are trying to self-publish a book this year, I want you to really think about formatting your book. I mean, this is an important element to think about. Formatting your book is really critical. So at the formatting stage of self-publishing, you'll be really putting the finishing touches on your product, making sure that it has, let's say, all the profiles, if you will, of a professionally published book. Okay, so the reason why the formatting step comes after the find a self-publisher step is because basically self-publishing platforms typically have their own built-in layout and formatting features. So the tools that you use might vary depending on the platform that you are using, but the end product is the same. I mean, that's a possibility I want you to really think about. The end product is the same. Now, book formatting really works in a specific manner. So self-publishing platforms like KDP require users to upload two distinct files. The first is the manuscript file, which really includes all the interior pages of the book. And the second is actually the cover file, which contains the outside of your book, the front cover, the spine, and the back cover. And you have to also think about formatting your manuscript file. So, in terms of the bullet, in terms of all the sections, okay, you want to set your trim and margins, really important. The front matter. So a book's front matter is all of the pages that come before the start of your manuscript. And books typically have 5 types of front matter pages. You have a half title page, copyright page, dedication page, and the table of contents page. Okay, so that's the front matter. And then you have the body matter. So a book's body matter contains all of the text of your chapters. And body matter pages start with your first chapter on a right facing page. Okay, and so that's kind of important. And then you also have the back matter. So your book's back matter will include all of the pages that come after the chapters of your book. So here are the back matters, the back matter pages to include the bibliography and reference pages, the author bio page, the index pages. And you also have to think about ISBN. So an ISBN is a 13-digit code that uniquely identifies each published edition of your book, along with its publisher and physical properties. So really important to keep that in mind. If you want to self-publish a book this year, I want you to really think about launching your book like a store launching a product. It's all about marketing. It's all about creating a buzz. It's all about visibility, and it's all about optimizing the whole process, right? Because if you want to convince, let's say prospects to actually read your book, you got to have a strategy, and having that strategy really is going to really play an important role. Having a strategy is going to help you actually crystallize your vision. Okay, so if you want to set yourself up for success, you want to plan a product launch, and you may not have the experience of a professional publishing house, but you have been prepped for marketing by creating a book that has an audience inside and out. Because before writing a book, you probably know your audience, you probably know your niche, you probably know your expected readers, you know what they like, because you have done some research, right? You have conducted some preliminary surveys. You have done some due diligence, so you have a clear idea, or at least an approximate idea of what they like. Okay, so that's kind of cool. So there's a lot to consider before a book launch. So for instance, make sure your Amazon sales channels work. Amazon is an incredibly important platform for selling books. Whether you sell on Amazon via KDP or are using a different self-publishing platform synced with Amazon, you want to make sure you are able to accept payments via Amazon. And so you want to set up an author website with an online checkout. You want to prepare standard pages on your website. Your author website should include a home page, about us page, contact page, and a product page for your book. And you want to set up a way to capture visitor email addresses, because email marketing, no matter what people say, is here to stay. It has been here for more than 20 years now. It's a very powerful tool for building an audience. So use an email marketing app like Shopify Email, MailChimp, Aweber, Bravo, Seguno, or Klaviyo to send notification emails and provide visitors with a way to receive updates about you and your books. You also want to install, let's say, an analytics books, because the whole idea is that you want to really track things in all granularity, right? So website analytics can give you valuable insights into visitor behavior and help make improvements to your online store. So that's kind of cool. You can have a Google Analytics, but you can have like Shopify Analytics. Also, you have a lot of tools out there that are going to help you actually track things in all granularity. If you want to self-publish a book this year, you can market yourself on social media. As a matter of fact, you have to market yourself because social media actually are a powerful conduit when it comes to establishing this connection, this permanent connection that you need to have with your readers. Okay, I mean, you have written and edited your book. You have tested all your sales channels and everything functions seamlessly, right? You got a great looking website and a great looking book, but how do you find customers? Because those customers they're out there and they would love to actually interact with you. So social media provides a huge marketing opportunity to small businesses, and self-publishing authors are no exception. So that's kind of cool. And when you think about it, social media offers a low-cost access to a huge audiences, and having a good social media marketing strategy will help build an engaged audience that can boost book sales and actually help you widen the reach of awareness of your book. It's all about actually having like you want to extend the canvas. You want to really you want to cast a wider net, and you got to have that net. Okay, so growing your social media following should be an ongoing process, something that you are doing on a consistent basis alongside writing, editing, and publishing your books. Now the whole thing is that maybe you don't have time for it. Maybe you have the resources, if you will, to actually outsource that task to a third party, so you can have a social media marketing to actually help you on the marketing aspect of things. Okay, but if you were to do it yourself, you have to really make sure that you are sharing excerpts across social media platforms, encouraging user reviews on Amazon, starting a Facebook ad campaign if you have the budget for it, collaborating with social media influencers, reaching out to publications and podcasts, and also writing on your blog and sharing articles on social media. So that's going to help you actually establish that relationship and establish your thought leadership for good. If you want to self-publish a book this year, you want to really start working on your next book, right? This is actually an episodic sort of scenario where if you want to actually establish this sort of thought leadership, as I was telling you a little earlier, if you want to connect on a consistent basis with your target audience, with your avid readers, with your loyal readers, you got to really constantly think about this episodic way of things. It has to be episode after episode after episode. Okay, self-publishing authors must act as both authors and entrepreneurs. So in the early stages of a business with fewer employees and a lower budget, entrepreneurs tend to wear many hats. At times, if you are an entrepreneur, you must act as a marketing strategist, social media manager, web designer, product developer, shipping coordinator, customer service rep, and everything in between. Now, for self-published authors, the journey is the same. So it's one of those things where you have to really make sure that you are establishing yourself in a sustainable manner, right? Very important. So those are the top 8 steps that you need to think about when it comes to self-publishing. Let me give you a few considerations before I close to this conversation. Now, how much does it cost to publish a book? Well, you have to really plan for anywhere from $0 to $2,000, going all the way to $3,000. If you go to a KDP, for instance, and you have the opportunity to do things like graphic design and other things yourself, then you don't have to really spend a lot of cash. Okay, so but if you have to outsource parts of that, like the copy editing or the book cover, then you might actually pay a little extra. Okay, at least at the beginning. one thing for sure, you need to really understand that it is worth publishing. It is worth self-publishing a book as long as you have the right goals, because basically self-publishing can require a significant investment of time and money if you don't do it properly. And one thing for sure, also, you don't actually need an LLC to self-publish a book. In other words, you don't need to constitute a business to actually to self-publish a book. You may want to consider forming an LLC to protect your assets and limit your liability, but it is definitely not required this year or ever, by the way. So here's the epilogue I want you to think about. In today's conversation, I spoke to you about how to self-publish a book, and I give you the method, the considerations, and now the epilogue. In terms of method, I spoke to you about writing a book that's marketable, editing like a professional, developing an eye-catching book cover, choosing your self-publishing platform, formatting your book, launching your book like a store launches a product, marketing yourself on social media, starting work on your next book. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.